Daddy's got to go to work.
Well, it looks like Chris has backed out of the review. I guess this is just that review that I gotta do alone. This is something I must do. Not just for me, but for family.
You don't have to do this alone. We're family. And family sticks together because family is family. Want a Corona?
Alright, guys, gals, and everything in between, reporting from the cave of producer Dave.
Hi.
We got our Coronas, which is a must. So now that we have everything we need, I think it's time to review Furious 7. Guys, gals, and everything in between, we've seen Furious 7, not in IMAX, but we saw it in regular showing. And how did it fare? Well, it's interesting how I have to say this movie plays out.
It was good, but it didn't stand out from any other Fast and Furious.
No, the movie didn't stand out. The movie... Okay, so... I don't know if it's... Well, I guess for you guys it may be a secret, but for people who know me, it's no secret. I'm not a huge fan of the Fast and the Furious series.
Me neither.
In fact, the only one that I've really actually, like, said, okay, I'll buy into it was Fast 5. But, so, going into this one, I had my reservations. And I don't know about you.
I was a little reserved because... It's the 7th one in the movie. The first 6 didn't wow me all that much. Number 7, they weren't going to change the formula, so I didn't go in with my breath held.
Yeah, and that's the thing I gotta say, is that after seeing it...
It had the best intro to any Fast and Furious.
I felt like it did. Jason Statham... was you brought this up too. Jason Statham completely underused in the film. I thought that his character was the most pointless. Jason Statham also didn't act in the movie.
And what's so sad is his character had the most potential to spice up any moment.
Jason Statham had the potential to be the equivalent of Khan from Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan to this series. He could have been the
originally
Khan.
He was going to be the main bad guy, and I could tell.
Well, he still was though, but they just couldn't.
He wasn't.
The movie had no direction though. Is the problem?
No. It fluctuated between two villains. You can easily see where they had one plot but couldn't complete it all the way. There was a second plot or a second draft, and it said, let's just combine them and have the two villains work together. So no one villain stood out and was truly diabolical. And it made the movie way too long.
And yeah, and severely underusing Jason Statham's character really had a problem. Granted, with what they had to work with, only shooting roughly, I'd say about 40% of the scenes that Paul Walker before he tragically passed away.
Drink to his death.
To Paul. Which actually, segueing into that, Chris, also known as the cell phone guy on this channel, also known with his own channel as GSTV Studios, was supposed to appear in this review, but he was unable to because the Fast and the Furious movies meant a lot to him. He was meant to kind of be the great equalizer to me and David, who it's kind of like, and he's kind of like the great equalizer, but after seeing this final performance of Paul Walker and the send-off, which was an amazing send-off.
It was a good send-off.
It was a great send-off for the character. Yeah.
Yeah, no, what I thought was, I really thought, I thought what they were going to do was keep the scenes they had filmed, because when he passed away, he'd only had shot 25% or so of his scenes. I thought they were going to, like, have a stunt double, which they used his brother, right?
They used his two brothers.
A little bit to get him through. And then I thought of CGI, and then I thought they were going to give him a death scene. but they didn't. They did something more original, and kudos to the movie for that.
Yeah, they actually did a really great send-off, and honestly, and you know, this is maybe the fact that I'm not a huge supporter of the series, is this was a perfect ending for the Fast and the Furious world. Like, the way they resolved this movie, they could end the series right here.
They could, and there's enough drama that you know each character's not having a happily ever after, but
it's enough.
But it's a happy enough life for them.
It's enough to know that they're not going to do all these death-defying stunts anymore. There were some really solid action scenes. Yeah. The drone segment was intense. I did feel like the action got a bit overblown.
And it wasn't just, you know, Iraq War Predator drone. This was, they re-envisioned the drone plane.
And also, I didn't know if you noticed this, but they used the stealth helicopter that was used in Zero Dark 30 for capturing Bin Laden. When you go into these Fast and the Furious movies, you have to realize they're doing up, down, left, right, BA, start. Because, holy Christ. Like, nobody should have lived in this movie.
They get okay. An airplane shoots at them with 30mm GAU 8 ammo. And the car just holds. They're like, oh my god! They judge it.
Like, oh, that's
fine. And then the 30mm cannon will hit another car. 2 bullets hit, and the car just explodes.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Michael Bay movie to the T. And it is overblown, and the action to me kind of blended together. There were moments that I said, wow, this action is really good.
Yeah.
And James Wan's the director.
Believable.
James Wan directs the actor superbly and the action superbly, but my problem with it is that the action gets so they're like, you know what, we just fucking just throw everything on screen, just blow.
Oh, don't you call it.
This the action is good in spots, yeah,
and it was good in spots, but way too drawn out. It had the Matrix Reloaded syndrome.
Yeah, no spoilers here, but that scene that you see in the trailer with the buildings, I cashed out mentally. I was like, okay, done. The third act of the movie gets so long in terms of the action that I sat there and it all blended together to me as I know violence is happening and I know somehow it's going to get resolved.
And somehow they're going to live, yeah.
Yeah, and so I mentally cashed out. It didn't have the impact that it could have had. Honestly, I feel like they felt like they had to in order to try and get more butts in the seats. What you realize is this movie, I pointed out to Dave in the theater, what you ultimately have to realize, this movie is the biggest dick measuring contest on the planet. It's like, you see Vin Diesel walking out and he's like, I'm gonna fight you because I've got the biggest dick. And then Jason Statham pops out of his car and he's like, no, I've got the biggest dick. And then, like, the city explodes and then The Rock, like, looks over and he's like, no, how dare you? I have the biggest dick. And they all are just continuously trying to out-bigger dick each other that you're just wondering.
And then Ludacris goes in and is like,
Luda.
My dick's even longer. No, it's
you
not.
just wonder when they're about to all circle jerk each other. It was one of those things, it was silly. I understand that they're trying to go for that popcorn feel. And at times they did achieve it. That's the thing I gotta emphasize. They did achieve it at times, and when they just had normal action, like the scene in the warehouse. There's a scene in a warehouse. That action scene was spectacular.
Really good.
The dialogue was still terrible in that area. but the action in that scene was spectacular. And you see Kurt Russell, best part of the movie, hands down to me.
Best actor. No, they should have used him more.
They severely underused Kurt Russell, and he was one of the best parts of the movie, if not the best part of the movie. And I don't know how to describe it other than that. He was the best part, and then all of a sudden he's just gone from the movie, and you're like, but we still have like an hour and 40 minutes of movie left. Why are you... What? James Wan, overall, as a director on this, he directed the horror movie like The Conjuring. He's a great director. He did what he could with this film. I honestly think action-wise, he did do better in Death Sentence.
Yeah.
He did better in Death Sentence. I'm going to be real about that.
He's not going to be remembered for this movie.
No, I don't think that this is really a memorable movie for him.
No, and they ripped off a lot of scenes. For example, the car scene from the trailer where the cars are falling out of the sky, clearly stolen from the A-Team when they fly the tank.
It is literally like you could totally put plagiarism on that. And the thing that takes me out of the experience with these Fast and the Furious movies is we started as common street racers. And all of a sudden we kicked
and an undercover cop.
Yeah, and misunderstood, like, just criminals that can't even do, like, 10 years in jail, for God's sake. And we're misunderstood from the hood, but we have family. But somehow we kick the fuck out of Black Ops operatives, CIA agents.
Get hired by the government to save the world from a terrorist organization.
We do mass heists. We're able to frickin' take on the world with this
And
way.
don't lose our roots and still manage to win street races from time to time.
And we've had no training, and somehow we can do all of this, and that...
I guess they prove you don't need to go to college after all to be successful.
Fast and the Furious is the biggest promoter for true education and training. Just sort of wing it.
Just go into the world with confidence.
Wing it as a criminal as long as you're misunderstood. Guys, gals, and everything in between... What did you think of this movie? What would you rank it? Yeah, rank it on the tier
Discount viewing.
Discount viewing.
It's not an event. It's not something you're going to go, wow, I'm going to watch this movie again in theaters for the experience. You're going to watch this movie once, and then you're done. And it's worth, I feel, watching it in theaters. But once you watch it once, maybe 30 years from now, you think, oh yeah, I watched that movie. Do you want to watch it again? No, let's watch another movie.
I gotta say, this movie is like, catch it if it's on Netflix, watch now, Hulu, or just even on good old-fashioned television. I don't feel like there's a need to go out and spend money on this film. Granted, I have to tell you guys, that's high praise coming from me because, like, pretty much all of the other Fast and the Furious movies I've walked out, David's been like, what'd you think?
By the way,
it's dog shit.
There was some pretty desperate product placement in this movie. They even paid to show the logos of Corona.
I mean, for God's sake.
And Belgian Ale. I mean, like, they even paid, like, that same, like, ice bucket from the commercials where all the little Coronas are spaced perfectly with limes in the bucket. Put that on. I mean...
Well, I guess it worked because we went out and got some Coronas.
Yeah, to celebrate it. But I was looking for some Belgian Ale. If you don't get that, watch the movie. Because I do say it's a discount ice, but such desperate product placement.
But seriously, though, I don't feel there's a need to spend money on this film. I feel like if you can catch it at like a Netflix like type viewing, you're gonna sit there and go, oh yeah, that was fun, like watching it with the family or something on like a Saturday at your house if you want to day in.
Would you buy it once it's on DVD?
No. But you have to realize this is high praise from me coming from someone who hates all the other Fast and the Furious movies. But what did you guys think? And why did you guys enjoy it? Was it because of Paul Walker? Or what has made you like the Fast and the Furious movies? I want to know. I want to know what you guys think. So please, comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're here for you. More reviews coming in the future. So until then, guys, gals, and everything in between, we're signing off.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.